Oh, it's in image.
All right, I'd like to call to order the Planning Commission for the Town of East Troy for the month of August. I'd like the record to show that all the commissioners are present with the exception of Commissioner Seeley. And John, thank you for filling in. So how we work is we work on a split meeting format. This is our informational meeting where we will have the applicant come up, do a presentation, let us know what they're really looking for. The board will ask some questions of the applicant. Once we're done with that, they'll sit down. We'll have a short discussion amongst commissioners. And then at that time, I'd open it up to the audience. If anybody in the audience would like to speak in favor of the proposal, then if anybody would like to speak against the proposal, and then if necessary, a short rebuttal from the applicant. Then we come back in 2 weeks. We do our research and we come back in 2 weeks and make our decision. That being said, that is not by ordinance. So if we feel it is a straightforward decision that we could make tonight without any further investigation, we will do that. First item on the agenda is to review the Plan Commission minutes from July 10th and July 17th. Anybody have any issues with the minutes from our last two meetings? Take a motion then.
Motion to approve the minutes from July 10th, 2024 and July 17th, 2024.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a rezone at Swoboda Road, parcel PET 3100007, William and Pamela Berkey. If you guys could come up and let us know, just give us a little overview if you would. Obviously, we have our packets, but.
I'm Bill Berkey. I'm here with my wife Pam and our three sons, Bill, Ben, and Mitch. First of all, pleasure to be here tonight. And appreciate your time and consideration on this matter. We are applying for a zoning change on a 57-acre parcel on Swoboda Road, and it's currently zoned A1 and R1. We are requesting a rezone to C2 with the intention of subdividing to create a family homestead. 4 of those lots would be for our immediate family. One would go to myself and Pam, and the other 3 to our other 3 sons and their families. We also would like an additional 2 lots of 5 acres to be sold off on the east side of the 57-acre parcel, which actually has its own access on the east side. And then that to help us with some utility costs and road costs if needed for the 4 lots on the west side. So that's kind of, in general, what we're looking for. And we have not had anything engineered yet, so we were looking to find out if we could get this approval first before we went in and had the final CSM. Correct.
So I just had a couple quick questions that jumped out at me. What's the zoning divide? You said A1 and R1. It doesn't really say on the property, is it?
Yeah, the R1 portion of it are the 2 access portions. If you see the 2
Sure.
access that go to Swoboda Road, just those 2 sections are the R1.
They're basically carved out between those 2 lots or whatever.
Correct.
And those accesses exist currently?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
And there is that easement that runs down the center that goes to the back. There's other acreage in the back that's agricultural back in that area.
Okay.
Where that one you just referred to, can you direct me on the plat where that is? Is that shown on the plat?
No, the other agricultural behind it is not shown on that.
So it's accessed all straight through
Correct.
that center.
Correct.
Any other questions for the applicant?
That access would be for whoever owns the land back there, is that the access to that.
Yes.
They would have that.
We actually have one 40-acre agricultural parcel that is behind there, and then someone else owns another 40 that's next to that, and then Ames owns another 40 next to that. That accesses both in the backside. It splits both 40-acre lots. So that's what that weird line is through there.
So are you just looking for the rezone today, or are you looking for a rezone with this division?
Just the rezone.
Okay, and then the intent is to,
Correct. That's our intent.
because I think if you intend to go to what total of 6 lots,
Yes.
the county, I believe they're going to ask for a preliminary plat survey
Yes.
and preliminary review.
Yes.
Other questions for the applicant?
Have you reviewed this in light of the 2050 land use plan?
It is on the
It is.
2050 comprehensive plan.
It's consistent with the,
Yes, it's consistent with the 2050 land use plan, the C2.
They can answer that better than I can.
So I think, Rich, their intention is to make them C2 lots.
Right.
Um,
Can you explain that, if it's consistent with the 2015?
50.
50. So that there's a goal or a vision to change agricultural to C2, to residential?
Maybe
It
you guys
is.
can answer that better.
We have a copy of it.
It's part of the 2050 comp land use plan. If you want that, was this in their packet? or-
No.
Might not be.
it's not.
We kind of included it in our letter.
It is referenced in your,
Yeah, it's in the letter.
And we sat down and met with Nick Sigmund and Kate at the county already prior to even purchasing the property.
any other questions for the applicant while we've got him? Okay, thank you. Discussion amongst commissioners. I'll address the elephant in the room. It's prime agricultural, and we all know how we feel about prime agricultural. That's my only comment, really. We're an agricultural community. We want to stay an agricultural community. A1 prime ag is just that, so.
Well, I mean, it's zoned prime ag. It doesn't necessarily mean it's actually prime ag, right?
Fair,
So
fair.
I think in the past, we've looked for soil samples and things.
Sure. Is it farmed right now?
Yes.
Okay.
If I can answer that, Nick Sigmund had looked all that up in Kate, and they said it wasn't what you had said, it wasn't prime
It's
ag
not.
land, and that's why it's in the 2050 plan.
Okay. Other discussion amongst commissioners?
I guess I'd want a little time to
Agreed.
evaluate that it truly is in the plan, the 2050.
The long-term plan, sure.
Yeah, I
And-
agree.
yeah.
Well, that, and then I'd like to get confirmation around the quality of the farm. and
Sure.
everything.
and there's specific criteria for rezoning land from A1, and this is A1.
Correct. And it's conforming A1,
Yeah,
so,
But I think those are really the questions, right? We're not being, they're providing a preview of what they intend, how they intend to divide the property. That's not really what we'd be deciding. That could change, you know.
Yeah, 'cause this is
after
not-
The county.
this is not, an engineered plan, Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit premature, personally. I know what you guys are trying to accomplish, like, hey, we don't want to spend money on engineering, and you guys are like, hell no. So I totally get where you're coming from. What we've had in the past is we've had issues where we can only act on what's in front of us. So if we have something in front of us that's incomplete, we can't act on it. Even sometimes if we're necessarily in favor of it, sort of. But that's semantics for us, I guess. So
Right, I think the only action that we could take would be the rezone and then
Correct, rezone to C2,
a single lot.
and then they would
C2.
come back with subdivision.
Correct.
Any other discussion amongst commissioners? Okay, at this time, I'd open up to the audience. Would anybody in the audience like to speak in favor of the proposal? Would anybody like to speak against the proposal? If you could come up and just state your name and address for the record, please. Whoever.
Good evening. Michael Martin, W2245 Swoboda Road. And I've maintained that east easement for the past 30 years, keeping all the grass down and everything. And I see what they're planning to do here. And if it passes all the agricultural stuff and everything, that's fine. But the questions I have is, has any engineering been done for bringing in power? Are they going to have three-phase power going up the road to power the additional homes? In addition to that, the bringing in telecommunications, cable TV, and fiber. Has any of that engineering been done? And the question I also have from our back lot lines to other new homes back there, is there any setback been determined? These are all questions that probably ought to be answered before any final approval. And also the characteristics of the two easements going in for driveways and things. That's all I have. Does anybody else have any
So
questions?
the only thing I can say is C2 has a setback already. That's what they're asking for is C2. I'm not sure what the front yard setback is. Rich, do you have that by chance, Andy?
I
It's like 30 feet, it's
I wanna say
bigger than
I'm in
you,
C2.
than
I want to say
R1.
it's 50 feet, it might be larger.
Are you one of the residential lots that front
Yes.
Swoboda?
Well, I'm the first one on the east. And that east easement is something that I've been maintaining for 30 years.
Okay.
Just to have it look nice.
And as far as the infrastructure, We Energy, I don't know that answer. I guess that's up to them. If they get this done and they can't get power or internet or cable, it's kind of their problem. I
What I
guess.
would offer is that the utilities and telephone and things that would typically go within those easements, right? It wouldn't,
Yes.
it doesn't give them, the applicant or We Energy's the right to run power through your yard unless
Correct.
there's already.
Well, yeah, but the question I have, is it going to be aerial or buried for all of those easements, power and everything else? I do have an FCC licensed radio facility on my property that if there are additional overhead lines that can create a problem where the FCC would become involved.
So that,
And that's up to We Energies. Pretty much everything I've been doing with We Energies is below grade.
yeah,
Okay.
and I did something similar to this years ago, and We Energies gave me the option overhead or underground, and it was the same cost. I chose underground.
Yeah.
That's just what
Okay.
my experience was.
Okay, beyond that, it's part of the change and everything, and it would be It's nicer to have family homes back there of a family as opposed to, apartment buildings or something. Okay, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Thanks. Would anybody else in the audience like to speak against the proposal? Please, if you could, again, name and address. Or did we get his name and address? I'm sorry.
And I'm not totally against it.
And it doesn't necessarily have to fall on one side of the line or the other.
My name is Cindy Nelson. I live at West 2315 Shorter Road. I moved in the middle of May. Knowing that there was a road there, but it was undeveloped. I am concerned that when they develop that road, we're gonna lose 50 feet of our yard. So that we have plans that we would like to add on to our garage and our dog areas there, our sheds, our chicken area is there. And when they do the 50 feet, we're gonna lose all of that, most of that on that side of the house.
So are you adjacent to the center easement? Is that what you're saying?
I am this one.
Got it.
And then, so our house, and so it'll come in, so 50 feet, so we'll lose.
So I mean, that easement's already there.
Yes,
It's already kind of been designed, so it's not like you'll lose
right,
anything. It would be paved versus grass.
right. So I would be fine, like if it was a driveway to the family home, so I too would prefer family homes over subdivision or apartment buildings. But things would be a little bit different if it was more of a driveway than a road. Because moving everything is, and then, I mean, we wanted to put on just a little bit more, and then, so like another 2-car add on to the back of it.
But
which-
this wouldn't affect that because that's the property line and you already have your setbacks. So it wouldn't affect any existing structure or any future
My
structure.
husband called and talked to somebody, I don't recognize the name he mentioned, but they said it would be a 50-foot easement. And anything, that almost goes up to our dog area. No.
They're not gonna take any of your land.
Oh, they won't. So
No.
where we have the posts where the markers are,
That's it.
it's fine. It
That
won't
is
go.
it.
Unless,
So nobody will come and say your sheds are not,
I mean,
If
unless you
they're
have
on
a
your land-
doghouse in the easement.
no, I
Correct.
don't.
Right.
But if you measure 50 feet out from the road, where the road runs through, that does go on my property,
It won't.
but it won't.
It won't.
Okay.
So this access back here is
Yeah.
already platted. It's already there.
So it's
They're not just gonna,
so it's
put their
just
road
gonna be
wherever
the
the-
road,
I mean, it's,
and I don't have to worry about somebody coming in and saying your one shed is.
as long as your shed is
It's
on your
on
property
my
and not your
property.
setback.
Everything's on my property.
You're good.
We measured everything. Okay,
to that extent, like, it's A1 now, so you could build a farmhouse back there and put a driveway.
Have a
in.
driveway in there.
That could happen now.
right. Oh, yeah. But my husband was told that if it's a road, there are different rules.
Well, it
compared
wouldn't
to
be
a
a town
driveway.
road, like, we wouldn't maintain it. So I guess road driveway, it'd be a driveway that
Sure.
accesses 7 lots potentially.
Fine with that.
Yes,
Um,
it would not overlay the easement or the property that's already there. They'd have to be
Sure.
in,
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Yep.
So,
okay, thanks. Would anybody else in the audience like to speak? Please.
Josh Vian. I'm at W2347 Swoboda Road. I just moved in March of this year. One of the biggest things that brought me to that property was the fact that there was nothing behind there. I'm not totally against it. you know, obviously, like everyone said, it's much better than a, you know, subdivision with half-acre lots and cookie cutter houses.
Mhm.
But I only have a couple concerns about where that road is gonna go. I did see on the online plat, I didn't get a copy of that in the mail, that it runs basically, that they're planning to run it right along the property line.
So as of right now, they just
Yeah.
kind of dashed that in. That's
Okay.
not set in stone. I don't think they can run that in the setback. Am I wrong on that? Can you have a driveway in the setback? So it would be 50 feet off your property line.
Okay. I mean, just to me, it just seems like backyards should butt up to each other than having front yards and to backyards and
Understood.
stuff like that. But other than that, I like the idea of that more than a subdivision or anything like that. So
Be great if it stayed what it is.
Yeah.
Don't want it here.
Yeah,
Something in
I-
the middle is okay.
I'm okay. Yeah. So if we could just meet in the middle somewhere, I mean, I'm okay with it.
Okay.
So
Thanks.
thank you.
And I'm Susan Luffelman, and I'm at West 2331 Swoboda Road. Again, our property is butt up to this. And I have the same probably concern that Josh had, is that road that right now, it looks like it's there, but they're saying it would be 50 feet off. So that's my biggest concern. Again, I'm not opposed to the idea. Much rather have this than a subdivision.
Sure. Their road would have to be per code, per zoning code. So I don't want to overstep because I'm not the code expert, but I'm 99% sure it has to be 50 feet off your property.
But that was, when I'm looking at that was my first concern, is how that road would come through in
Sure.
the back.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else in the audience like to speak?
I'm Maxine Huff. I live at W2297 Swoboda. My property is just across that easement road from
Sure.
Cindy. And my property is a little bit larger than most. We bought 1.33 acres. So what we have is the slope from our land going down to that easement road.
Okay,
And I don't have a problem with that at all. I know that, you know, it's going to be put in the way it needs to be. And that was probably my only concern at first, was just how, you know, the easements were going to work. And it sounds like it's going to be fine. I really think this is a good proposal. I know that you want to see a little bit more engineering, and that's appropriate and should be done. But like everyone else has said, what could happen, I mean, we all were part of what was called Ames Acres, and most everybody got an acre. And these are much larger lots with fewer people, which philosophically shouldn't make good sense. We should preserve our land. But in reality, for those of us living there, I think this is going to be fine. It really, and, you know, I'll be happy to see when it's all, you know, when the whole proposal is ready to go and
Sure.
all, but it really leaves not a whole lot of concern. So,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Anybody else in the audience like to speak? Do you guys feel like you need any kind of rebuttal or want to say anything?
Yeah, I mean,
If so, go ahead.
our intention would be to lease out the majority of that farm afterwards. I mean, our lots aren't gonna take up the 7 acres. I mean, it's gonna be much smaller than that. I mean, that's-
Even of your 7 acres, you would
It
farm
would still
5
be-
of it, 3 of it,
Exactly.
whatever.
I mean, the majority of that is still gonna be used as a
Farm,
agricultural land.
farm members, yeah.
Whatever will work for it.
It would be nice to see the final.
So what, and I totally agree with you. What they're asking us for is a zoning change, not necessarily, it'll still be one 57 acre C rather than a 57 acre A1 lot. And then they would do the hearing and do defined, you know, from Ferris Hansen or whoever they want to get to do it.
That C1 is
C-
subdivision?
C2 is conservancy.
So they could honestly in the future make it a subdivision?
No,
No, C2 is
No.
minimum of 5 acres.
minimum
lot.
5 acres in C2. And so again, they would ask us to rezone this in 2 weeks. If we did that, they would have to come back again and say, okay, we want to take this 57 acre piece and make it 6 lots. And then the more detailed, devil's in the detail, because we wouldn't want to say, okay, you're good, good luck, have at it with 7.8, 7.8, 23, and 5 and 5. They would have to come back again and say, here's our final plan. So we're not giving them a rubber stamp to just make this into half-acre lots, and that's not going to happen.
And even 6 lots would still require a preliminary review by the county, so
Correct.
it would have a fair amount of detail.
Correct. So again, if this were to pass, it's not a blank slate to just have at it, so. Anything else you guys would like to say?
I think it'd be worth noting, just with our cursory meeting with the county, the zoning people at the county, as far as this rezone is concerned, rezoning from A1 to C2, we looked at the soils and the composition of the soils, the percentages of the different yield structures of each soil, so I'm sure you guys are familiar with, and they said with their cursory look that we had in our meeting that it did meet their specs. of
Okay.
rezone. And I'm sure they'll confirm that. So.
Sure.
I guess I'm concerned about this work order. So that's a realty company, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you're working with the realty company now? Realty
Well,
No,
that's her
I'm
realty,
realtor.
that's her realty company.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
with Realty Executives in East Troy.
Oh, okay.
But this is for us personally.
So obviously, this is a very new survey, so they got it at least surveyed, so we could see not the drawing done with a crayon like we have in the past.
Yeah, we have that survey done prior to closing, because we needed to verify that gap, that it's owned with this parcel anyways. So that's why we have it.
Sure.
So that's why it says Realty Executives.
Just discussion, does the county require a CSM for rezones? Do you know?
I think it will,
Yeah, they-
well, yeah, but, and they can do that with all the change in their lots,
But just a straightforward rezone, does that require it? We might need to check with the county on that.
I can answer.
Yeah, I'm questioning whether we can just very simply change this from A1 to C2.
Sure.
Because there's a certain specific set of criteria that have to be met. Some of them are kind of subjective, and those I don't think are going to be problems. But others require quantifiable and measurable criteria.
Sure.
And I think the idea of assessing the actual grade of the soil is the sort of thing that we want to confirm is consistent with the criteria.
Sure.
And I don't know how to answer that. That's
Yeah.
the question.
Go kick it around and look at it. It looks organic. That's all I can do.
I think you do soil testing.
Of course,
Firms
of course.
do, similar to perk tests.
Sure.
Soil tests.
Yes.
Sand and rocks.
It's probably sand. I mean,
That's East Troy.
But the county, they do know the types of soils it is. When they pull it up on their screen, they can tell you exactly what type of soils they are. And
Okay.
that's when we had a meeting with them. And
So,
that's-
Rich, I totally agree with you, and that's why I don't think we're not gonna make a decision tonight because of all those things.
Yeah.
And if all those things, maybe we come back in 2 weeks, say, hey, you don't have A, B, C, and D, let's table this.
And we've
or
just
whatever.
always made it so difficult to change in A1. And it seems to me we shouldn't be able to just simply do it like, oh, okay.
Poof.
should be
Uh,
scientific.
And the county can't deny us a rezone. They can't overrule our rezone.
Right.
That's the only thing they can't overrule us on.
One thing that we can control.
Yes, that's the only thing. Okay, I think we've gotten all our information and we'll be back in 2 weeks. Next item on the agenda is any other business amongst commissioners? Any other public comment? Then I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? Seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Saying the 21st of August. at
Correct.
6:30.